landscape in Gombe is becoming more active as the African Democratic Congress ADC intensifies its preparations for future elections. The party leadership recently unveiled a strategic roadmap aimed at establishing the ADC as a viable political force in the state and beyond. A key highlight of the meeting was the party's commitment to allocate 50% of both elective and appointed positions to women and youth under the age of 40.
We are not in the queue of who will contest. Now, let them come and build the party. It is only when you build the house that you think of who will enter and enjoy the roof. 50% of this movement will come from youth, men and women. That is why we call the coalition leaders to push or to go to rally around behind the youth, push the youth on the front line.
The announcement drew up.
But I can say to you, one word, the People's Democratic Party is ready for the National Convention scheduled by Inec for Ibadan, or your state capital, for November 15th and 16th, November 2025. I thank you for listening. I think we can have the conversation. And what we do is that we follow the constitution of our party. How do you have a national convention? We have started. Interestingly, when this process is started, we have been in sync with our regulator, Inec. Inec has been attending all the meetings. They're witnesses to all the things we're doing, preparatory to that. So if people, and like you said, that might be a media hype, people testing the waters. And I don't know which paper carried it. I'm not sure it's one of the mainstream here. I don't know which paper, even though you didn't mention. But the mainstream papers know that this party is moving towards Ibadan, that we're already there as a matter of fact. The local organizing committee is working hard. The venue committee, they're working already ahead of time. Even before the inauguration of those subcommittees, they're already working. We don't do hop, step, and jump. We're ready. And we're methodical in the things we do. So when somebody decides to please can we just disregard and let's focus on what is important. There will be no other parallel. In fact, it does not exist. So I think we should just focus on what we're doing as a party. And we're doing that. So if it's in the realm of conjecture, probably, and if it is probably the right reporter, I mean, you are my friends, we won't want to impugn your character, but I think it will be in the realm of hallucination. This party, through its neck, the authority that has the power, has scheduled the national convention, which is elective, for Ibadan, or your state capital, on the 15th, 16th November 2025, and this train has moved on.
The political landscape in Gombe is becoming more active as the African Democratic Congress ADC intensifies.
50% of this movement will come from youth, men and women. That is why we call the coalition leaders to push or to go to rally around behind the youth, push the youth on the front line.
I can say to you, one word, the People's Democratic Party is ready for the National Convention scheduled by Inec for Ibadan, or your state capital, for November 15th.
Hello there, good evening, and thanks for joining us on Political Lens. I am Chukuma Okoro. We are broadcasting on Metro SLTV channel 264, and on YouTube we are Voice of People Television. On other social media platforms we are at VOP TV Live. Now, the two footages we watched are coming from one, what ADC is doing across the states of the Federation. That came from Gombe, where they said, look, Gombe people are actually rooting for the ADC, and ADC is the party of the future. And on the second footage, we see Debo Ologoaba saying that, look, the National Convention of the People's Democratic Party, slated for November 15 and 16, 2025, is a done deal. It's already concluded. Meanwhile, we have Nyesom Wike and his camp saying, look, nobody in the NEC, National Executive Committee, I'm a member, Nobody has talked about National Convention of the PDP holding in Ibadan this year. Well, we are joined by erudite barrister Asim Adams. He's a constitutional lawyer and political affairs analyst. He was spokesperson to Beatrice Itubo / Peter Obi campaign organization in Rivers State in the 2023 general election. Good evening, Barrister Adams. Welcome to Political Lens. It's always a pleasure to have you.
Nigerians, good evening, everybody.
All right, now, thank you. Let's kick into the show. On the show today, ADC wants APC. Tinubu don't appoint APC loyalist as Inec chairman. Wike camp device PDP ahead of National Convention. Now, use of the opposition African Democratic Congress, ADC, under the aegis of African Democratic Congress Youth Camp, have warned President Bola Ahmed Tinubu against appointing a partisan figure as the next chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, as the tenure of the current chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, ends in December. At a press conference in Abuja, the youth declared that they will resist any attempt to manipulate the 2027 elections, vowing to defeat the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, even if Tinubu appoints his spokesperson, Bayo Ononoga, to lead the electoral body. Now, that's huge because everybody understands what Bayo Ononoga stands for the president. Well, the ADYC leaders, including National Coordinator Mrs. Rukaya Lamido Dodo and Director General Mutala Haliru Dantoro, expressed frustration with systemic vote buying and election rigging, particularly referencing alleged malpractice in recent by-elections in Niger State. Dantoro described the polls as a show of shame, decrying vote buying for as low as 2,000 naira and calling for the president to address the issue. He stressed that vote buying is criminal and a betrayal of Nigeria's democratic future. Oh well, Mrs. Dodo echoed the sentiment of youth disillusionment, saying her generation is tired of being sidelined in national affairs. She emphasized that the ADYC is not merely a youth wing, but a driving force of a political revolution aimed at reclaiming. The group declares its mission to reshape the political landscape by promoting transparency, accountability, and radical inclusion. Well, the ADC youths outlined their strategy for change through grassroots mobilization, stating that their movement spans every state and local government. Now, that's huge. They are engaging in community development and using both traditional and digital tools to connect with young Nigerians. Their goal is to empower youths to take control of their political future and transform Nigerians' governance from the bottom up. Barrister Adams, welcome once again to Political Lens. It's always a pleasure to have you, like I said.
It's a pleasure being here.
Now, let's get into it right away. Now, the tenure of the current INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, will expire in December, and a new one will be appointed to replace him. By who? By the president. By the Electoral Act, as amended, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has the sole power to appoint INEC chairman. It's a position that doesn't sit well with many Nigerians. And yesterday, ADC youth fired a warning shot at the president. Don't appoint an APC loyalist. But even if you appoint Bayo Ononoga, you understand, Nigerians understand the rule of Bayo. And in all of this, we will defeat you. That is what the youths are saying. Now, how does this warning fit into the larger context of our quest for credible elections ahead of 2027? It's like tensions are everywhere. This is not the first time that warning shots are fired at the president. Hakim Baba Ahmed the other day said, look, if you try to read, we'll set this country on fire. This is not, that he's not the only person speaking. Northerners are saying, be mindful of what you do in 2027. Barrister, can you help us understand the context that the ADC used? Let us not mince words. The ADC looks like a party of the North, and the North is again firing, say, look, don't appoint a loyalist of the APC. If you do that, we'll even defeat you. Let us understand what's going on from your perspective, from your view as a constitutional lawyer, as an analyst.
Thank you. First of all, let me take the appointment of the INEC, either commissioner or chairman.
The helmsman at this point.
Yes. If you go through section 14 sub 2B of the Electoral Act, it says that the a staff, not even the whatever, a staff of INEC must not be a card-carrying member of any political party.
Okay.
That is a caveat. Now, Section 25 also, says that if, for instance, you you hid your identity as a member of a political party, and you were now employed as a staff of INEC, and it was now later found out that you are or you belong to a political party, you will be charged to court, and if you are found guilty, you pay the sum of 5 million naira as fine, or you go to jail for 1 year, or both.
Okay.
So which means the Electoral Act and even the guidelines, the code of conduct for INEC itself forbids or prohibits any member of INEC, whether a chairman or a staff of INEC, to belong to a political party.
Okay.
So those saying that the president or who they appoint or whoever they appoint should not appoint a member of APC. So which means they can appoint a member of PDP. Is that what they are saying? Or you can appoint a member of ADC. So what I'm saying is that it is not even APC alone. That is, the person to be at the helm of affairs of INEC must not belong or have an affiliation with any political party. Any of the political parties registered by INEC. Because the reason is not far-fetched. They want that particular person to be an arbiter, impartial and unbiased, when he's carrying out his functions of that particular position as a member of an electoral commission. So that takes care of it. But I know why a lot of them, those who are, making those signs and warnings, many of us, we remember that there's a particular issue of a lady they call Loretta Onoche, I think Loretta Onoche yes, from Delta State. You remember what happened, that the then president, late President Muhammadu Buhari, may so rest in peace, submitted the name of Loretta Onoche to the Senate for appointment twice, and the Senate rejected that particular appointment on the ground that Section 14 sub 2B of INEC and their guidelines prohibit, any appointee or anybody appointed to serve in the INEC, not to be a card-carrying member of any political party. And that they suspected that Loretta Onoche was a member of the APC, okay, which, although she denied it, but at the end of the day, the Senate rejected, that appointment. So I think that is what they are looking at. They are, the presidency or the president need to allay the fears of those who are saying, please remember, don't appoint somebody as a card-carrying member of any political party. So they have the right to say that.
Okay.
So the constitution says they cannot do that. Now, let me put it very succinctly. You see, why are people clamoring? Whereas the democracy and the tenets of democracy where we draw from, for instance, in the UK, it will surprise you that in 2001, the head of INEC, equivalent, Electoral Commission they call it,
okay,
the UK Electoral Commission, it will surprise you that the man was an Indian, a British Indian.
Okay.
Vijay was his name. And when I went through and I saw what baffled me was that the staff strength of the UK Electoral Commission as at that time was 123 members only. 123 people who were to head and go about election matters and bring in a new prime minister or any other body that is coming into to rule the United Kingdom, as this may be. So So I was now saying, are you saying that 123 people in a country as large as Britain TC, that just 123 will decide who will become the president by way of members of the electoral body? That is diametrically opposed to what we have in Nigeria today. I'm sure the staff of Inec in Nigeria should go to 10,000, if not more than that. Another issue that surprised me was that as at that time, the sum of 18.4 million pounds was budgeted, for that particular year, the period of 2009 to 2010. So when you convert, 18.3 million pounds into naira, how much that is going to be that they are using to, finance their elections. Now the lessons to be drawn from that is that the people who make up this body, if you know how they appoint them, you'll be very shocked and surprised.
Okay.
The political parties, CSOs, NGOs, they coming together, and if I put it.
But Mr. Adam, hold your breath, because we'll get to that. How we should reject the appointment of INEC chairman and board directors, members of the board. Now, don't you think that the people should be, especially the opposition, should be concerned, taking, if you rely on the history or if you rely on what happened in the past, in Edo State, the Goba elections, the opposition cried foul. Look, the person that you have appointed as returning officer is related directly to the FCT chairman, who is a major stakeholder in the PDP, and the PDP is also in contention in the Edo election. INEC dismissed all of that. In Ondo State, they said, look, the woman that you have appointed as returning officer, as REC, is not even from Ondo State, and she's been put there to do someone's bidding. And the APC current national chairman, Niwata, formerly worked with INEC. And Nigerians are saying, look, this looks like some form of institutional capture, where the ruling party, the president, wants to capture institutions to favor him ahead of 2027 general elections. Now, is it strange that the opposition, ADC, and others, Nigerians have been crying out, are saying, look, you don't need to appoint somebody that is partisan. By the way, they didn't single out APC. They said, don't appoint any partisan person. That means somebody that is a card-carrying member of any political party. I'm happy that you mentioned Loretta.
Section 14, sub 2B is very clear.
Exactly.
Yes.
So, shouldn't they be worried about all of that? Because it's a pattern.
You see, when they talk about shouldn't they be worried, we are worried about the economic system of Nigeria.
Okay.
We are also worried about the political ecology of Nigeria. We are worried about the social, whatever of Nigeria, as the case may be. We are worried about leadership. So everything about Nigeria is worrisome, as the case may be. Now, let me put it succinctly, because every year we reinvent this same worrisome syndrome. In 1979, before the election, there was a certain Wike, who was the chairman of FEDECO, as they call it at that time. The UPN said he was a member of the MPN. That Shehu Shagari and his cohorts, brought Wike to become a partisan arbiter. That Obasanjo knew that FEDECO, Wike, had some sympathy on whom he wanted, to become the president of Nigeria. As at that time, Awolowo made a statement. He said that he found out in Nigeria that the most popular candidates do not win elections. They don't become president. That is, the most popular candidates cannot win election in Nigeria because of, the gerrymandering of the umpire, starting from FEDECO. Now you go to NEC, from FEDECO he now went to NEC. People headed, those particular bodies. People on the other divide said they were selected by the ruling party. So it's a worrisome trend that has been on in Nigeria here. I'm just trying to chronicle, what has been happening.
Okay.
From 1979 date. Even at Tahiru Jega, to an extent, we felt that he was partisan, as the case may be. That is why people like Orubebe could get up and begin to, challenge the results of the election. You understand the point now? And say, this is what the powers that be. Now, what I want to tell you, from what I've chronicled, it is not just the political head that do that evil machination to tamper with the head of the umpire. You understand the point?
I do.
A cabal in Nigeria also is interested in who becomes, the president of Nigeria in terms of power block and power holding, as the case may be. They can have a remote control, or if not directly, on who a particular system can choose to head that particular, umpire called the Electoral Commission chairman. So you find that the politicians who are there, you cannot rule that out, that the president will want to retain his seat, and he wants a yes man to work with him.
Does that speak to the institutional capture that we are talking about?
Of course, Nigeria has we don't even have institutions.
Okay, now you're a lawyer.
Yes, we don't even have institutions.
You're a constitutional lawyer for that
That's
matter.
right.
In all of this, Nigerians have been complaining since 2007 when Yar'Adua came and said, look, the elections that brought me into office was clearly flawed. He set up the Wike Commission.
Yes.
Wike put up very, very instructive suggestions, recommendations. Yes. We ignored it. We put it in the cupboard.
Yes,
it's gathering dust somewhere.
Absolutely.
Now, as a lawyer, lawyers are learned men, wise men, and all of that. What prescriptions will you offer going ahead in terms of who or how should we appoint the umpires and board members of Inec, resident electoral commissioners, returning officers? We have friend lecturers, professors, and what did we see? They went there, took monies. One of them is in jail now. So what should we do to make the system transparent, credible, free, and fair?
I want to relay or give an analogy. There was a certain sportsman. The video was viral. He was on the track, on the racetrack with his opponent, competitor. He got to a point. The man who was leading the race fell down. Maybe there was an accident. He was leading this man, and this sportsman was number 2 on that particular track. You know what that man did? He stopped. Instead of going to press the tape, he stopped and came back and lifted that man up. And lifted the man who fell down, who was number 1, and asked him to continue that particular race. And that man won that race, and that man that would have taken advantage of the man that was the front runner lost the race. But you know what happened? When journalists interviewed, the young man, he said that he cannot participate and, sip or eat from a product of corruption. I'm paraphrasing. What I'm trying to say, yes, a Yar'Adua came up and said, yes, the system that brought me into power is technically flawed, monumentally flawed. Therefore, I want to set up this. But he did not step down to correct the ills.
But he set up a commission.
No, I'm coming. He did not step down to say, I will not benefit from this facade, this shibboleth. For me to set up a plank for which Nigerians will begin to draw from and draw strength. But he went on and took over. He was sworn in. A product, he confirmed and confessed. In the law court, if a particular criminal confesses to an offense, it's a confessional statement, and based on that particular statement, he's done what will happen to him. He's convicted and sentenced.
Barrister,
you understand?
You're a lawyer.
So I am saying
something we call
where we have to start.
There's something we call the doctrine of necessity.
Yes.
Did you want Yar'Adua to leave a vacuum?
There wouldn't have been vacuum. There wouldn't have been vacuum. In 1999 Constitution, there wouldn't have been vacuum. When you have a period of maybe a period with an interregnum, there's a safety valve in that particular Nigeria constitution. I can't remember the section now.
Which is what?
That they can hold forth.
Who will hold that forth?
Of course, the person who was there, the person who handed over to him.
Okay.
The person who handed over to him.
Now, in that case, in that case, somebody that wanted a third term.
No, that is it. It not depends whether the man manipulates it or not.
That is
but
the doctrine.
Has got,
what
I'm saying is that the man, no, that is not the argument. That is not the talk here. It is not the talk. We're talking about integrity and honesty.
Okay.
That is what has kept Nigeria at this crawling stage. A man says he's corrupt. He said, I stole. He now returns whatever. No punishment is meted on him.
Plea bargain.
He does not. That is plea bargain.
Okay.
He goes scot-free. What I'm saying is that if those in power do not purge themselves and show recompense, then Nigeria can never move forward.
Okay.
Because if you say that the election that brought me to power was flawed, and you went ahead to benefit, it's my own thought I'm taking. I might be wrong. But I feel... For me, may so rest in peace, if a man of honor and integrity would have said, I have nothing to do with it, that would have been a plan for the country called Nigeria to begin what we call ethical rebate. But it's not happening today.
Beautiful, barrister. Now, the same man set up, going forward, a reform committee headed by one of Nigeria's eminent chief justices, your colleague, Justice Muhammad Wike.
Absolutely.
And the man came up with far-reaching recommendations that many Nigerians, including lawyers, senior advocates, believe that, look, if we had implemented these recommendations made by this man, probably we wouldn't even be talking about the Electoral Act 2022 as amended. Now, after all of that, the thing was put in the drawer, and it is that place, it's in the same place, gathering dust.
Absolutely.
So don't you think that the man acted in good conscience?
The man that did the confab of 2004, his name is Jonathan.
Okay.
Many Nigerians were saying if the resolution of the confab had been implemented, Nigeria would have been Eldorado. The question we should ask ourselves is that why is it that we keep all things that would have made Nigeria a better nation, we keep them under the carpet? And so there's a reason.
Okay, but
there's a reason for that.
Is that
because we have leaders who are mindless buccaneers.
Exactly.
We have leaders.
Now, that problem,
we have leaders who are not, who are scared to show and set example of integrity and honesty.
Exactly. The problem is between the leaders and the led.
Yes.
Up until this moment, a lot of Nigerians believe that, look, the followership doesn't have the courage to hold the leadership to account. That is a discussion for another day. Now, let's move on. Let's look at the last by-elections as we talk about appointment of the Inec chairman, board members, and all of that. A lot of people were disappointed that the ADC and, in fact, the opposition parties couldn't put up a credible fight. Isn't it too early to have expected the ADC to win any seat at the by-elections? They are just putting the acts together. They don't even have the structure that we are looking at. The structure that we talked about at the sub-national level, even at local government levels. Nigerians are trolling them. Is this what they are going to do in 2027? Isn't it too early to have expected them to put up a stellar performance at the by-elections?
The by-elections that took place in the communities or enclaves of the titans, those who promote. It is what you exhibit that will make me follow you as a political leader.
Okay.
A man like El-Rufai cannot, he has no reason, he has no excuse to tell me that out of the seats that were vacant, that he could not prepare because his party registered for the elections. If they knew, because election, if you have to contest an election, it's not compulsory. There are political parties, even in the US and all other in the UK, there are political parties that will say, I will not participate in the presidential election. They sit and look. There are those who say, it's only the county elections and we participate. So if the ADC knew that they were not, capable and they were too young, as people say, to contest, then why did they waste the time of the people? They went in there because they wanted to collect money that accrue to parties that participated in the election. That is fraudulent. Now, if El-Rufai could not, at this point in time, if he were to be a politician with sagacious, persuasion and followership, I am telling you that 1 or 2 would have come his way. Okay. You cannot expect an Awolowo, for instance, to now move and go and say, and in the western region of those days, to say, I have 1 week to prepare for election, and at the end of the day, not one single vote his party got, even though the party that was set up, was there. It is not the party people follow. For instance, it is the individual. Most of us today, we don't follow the political parties, but we follow the individual.
I know, very well.
So
I know
people should follow. Yeah, so people should follow. Yes, people should have followed El-Rufai, as the case may be. So let me use the word because he lost what
you seem to single out El-Rufai.
Why I'm doing that? Because he is the one that is propelling the ADC. He's the bulwark and
P2B has also identified with the ADC. So what do you have to say about what Labour Party put up? Their performance in the Anambra Senatorial and House of Representatives.
Were they not good? Because of the Obi factor. Even when Obi came, you saw what happened.
No, I mean during the by-election.
Of course, yes. There was a good showing.
In Anambra State, they didn't win anything.
But there was a good showing.
Where?
Yes, there was a good showing in terms of votes, etc. It is not labeled at those, because they are even contesting those particular results, that those are not the authentic results. But there was a good showing. You could see numbers be counted for them.
Barrister, did they win any seat?
You mustn't win. What I'm saying, you mustn't win, because what I saw in the Kaduna whatever, there was nothing recorded.
The election is like an examination.
Yes.
You assemble 100 people.
Yes.
In an interview.
Absolutely.
You want one position,
yes.
You assemble 100 people.
Yes.
Second is last. If you take second position, you are last because you didn't get the job.
Let me speak to the point. You see, I am not saying that El-Rufai should have won.
No. We are not.
I'm not saying that P2B should have won. Whatever. But what I'm saying, if you look at the votes that were counted, you still know that at least he has sprinkling of followers who believed in him and say, let me thumbprint. I know we are not even going to win, but let me thumbprint for this party for the sake of this individual. That is my take. I am not saying he has to sweep everything.
Now a lot of people,
I believe that they would have been able to do that as a strong character.
During the by-elections, a lot of Nigerians believe that P2B's political influence has waned. Do you agree with that?
I don't agree with that. Let me tell you why. P2B political influence has not waned.
Beautiful.
You know why? Because of the fact that P2B is the narrative anywhere you go to today. P2B is the only politician that, even as we speak and sit down here, if he says he's coming to a particular area in Lagos today, you are going to see people who are going to troop in there. And these people who troop in there are not people who are saying that Labour Party, PDP, APC or ADC, but they are saying they are obedience. That is, they are followers of P2B and its ideology. Now, you know why they are trying to, periscope and, beam that satellite of P2B to discourage him? Because you are expecting a P2B, for instance, to go to war. P2B is not Labour Party. It's not the hierarchy. The people that should be blamed is the Labour Party hierarchy, who refuse to put their hands together in Anambra State or any other state that contested the by-election, and not an individual who just a single member of that political party. And let me put this succinctly straight, that were it not for the influence and name of P2B, nobody will vote for Labour Party in Anambra State or any other state in Nigeria today. So even if the seats were not won by the Labour Party candidate, but the influence, they put up a fight. You could see, if you ask those voters, the reason why they voted for Labour Party, will tell you that it was because of P2B that they did all these things.
So essentially you believe that what P2B did and the Labour Party, the obedient movement, did in 2023, that they will be able to reenact that momentum in 2027.
Absolutely. Let me put it very clearly. A good example, you see, when P2B came to Labour Party, in the 2023 elections, you understand, Labour Party had never scored above 1,000 votes nationally when they contested.
But they had a governor.
The governor won. The governor won. That is the state. I'm talking about national, as the case may be. They never scored 1,000 votes national, as the case may be. But P2B came into the fray. Within 6 months, you see this. You saw the activities. You saw what happened. And within that 6 months of his campaigning, etc., as the case may be, he was able to garner 6 point something votes.
Barrister,
that is credible.
Barrister, can you do a forecast? What will happen in 2027?
What is going to happen in 2027?
No matter where P2B pinches his tent.
See, let me tell you what is going to happen. Where P2B pinches his tent is very important for we the obedience.
Okay.
We cannot say
when I said no matter, is because you people have given him like a leverage. Anywhere you go, we join you.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. But we know that anywhere he goes, we will follow him. But there are some political parties that are leprous.
APC, if he goes to APC, will you join him?
I wouldn't describe APC as a leprous party. I don't know, but there are political parties that we feel will not, take us to our dream Nigeria.
PDP.
We believe that they don't. I don't put words in my mouth. I don't want to say this, ADC, but I know that as the case may be.
ADC.
For me, ADC is a trap.
Okay.
For a P2B, until and unless, like I've said it before, the characters who are, putting him in the middle exit or succumb to the pressure to the extent that, look, we have seen this. We are statesmen.
All right.
We want this man to become.
Barrister.
Then we not queue behind
Barrister,
him.
Beautiful. Now you have brought us to our second topic of discussion, because you talked about the leprous hands in the PDP.
Yes.
Now let's get into it. A fresh row is bringing in the People's Democratic Party (PDP) over the planned national convention, as the camp of the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory (FCT) Wike is set to meet today to decide its position ahead of the national convention slated for Ibadan. Now, Wike, who appeared on a Channels television program yesterday, dismissed the report suggesting that a parallel convention was being plotted, insisting that no formal decision had been taken by the party's National Executive Committee on the venue. He's a member of the Inec. Now, I am not aware that any convention is holding in Ibadan. As a Inec member, this Wike speaking, nobody has informed me, and no such decision has been voted on by Inec. If a few people gather to make pronouncements, that cannot pass for Inec, Wike said. When I asked if he will attend the Ibadan gathering, reportedly fixed for November, he retorted, that is a journalist reporting. When Inec meets, Wike responded, when Inec meets, we will know. Until then, I don't know about Ibadan. Nobody has agreed on that. So how can you say I am planning a parallel convention? Planning to do what? His remarks is coming amid mounting speculations that Wike's bloc within the party was uncomfortable with arrangements spearheaded by the Convention Planning Committee and may be considering alternative options. Barrister, you also watched the opening footage where Debo Ologuaba, the National Public Secretary of the PDP, said, pointedly, it's decided, it's a done deal. The convention is holding December 15th, 16th in Ibadan. Then Wike said, no, I'm a member of NEC. NEC is the highest decision-making body of PDP. We have not taken that decision. Anybody that is telling you that I'm planning a parallel convention is just living in denial. What's your reaction to? Does it look like we are back to the problems of the PDP?
Of course.
Nigerians initially believed that Atiku Abubakar, that was what Wike made us believe, that Atiku Abubakar is the problem of the PDP. Now Atiku has left. He resigned. Nigerians saw it. Wike says, look, there's still a problem in the PDP. Who is the real problem in the PDP?
The real problem in the PDP is Atiku Abubakar.
He's no more in the PDP.
His spirit and ghost is there.
Really?
Absolutely, just like Hitler.
Okay, let us
Today, when you talk about genocide, talk about Hitler.
Let us in.
When you talk about Holocaust, talk about Hitler. Hitler is no more with us, but his image and silhouette and ghost still flood our minds.
I want to go. Excuse me, Barrister.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want us to get into history. Before the Holocaust,
yes,
the Germans, in the absence of Hitler, had committed genocide in Africa. The Herero massacre in Namibia. You are aware of
absolutely,
that.
Yes.
So when historians put up Hitler,
yes,
as a signpost of genocide,
yes,
a lot of people that have sympathy for Hitler,
yes,
based on what he did, the Lebensraum, living space for the Germans, will disagree with that. But let's move on. I needed to put history.
It's okay. It's all right. No problem. I just wanted to use the analogy to say he's no more with us, but his ghost still hover around when talk about genocide, Holocaust, etc. The same with Atiku Abubakar. I don't hate him. He's a man I respect so much. as old as I am, I've been following him right when I was young in secondary school. I am telling you that he's a figure that has been there. He's constant like the Northern Star in Nigeria political firmament, as I said. Now, why am I saying this? Is this. A number of people will look at Wike as the man who destroyed. No, it is not. PDP destroyed itself, in my own opinion. And that destruction started in the last general election when they did their primaries. If you go back, you can go back to the clips and see what happened. Before then, Wike battled to make sure that the PDP governors agreed that the presidential ticket of PDP should be zoned to the southern part of Nigeria. I don't know if you are aware of that particular whatever.
Yes,
they had their meetings in Asaba. The South governors, all of them together, including those who betrayed him, they were in Asaba and said, and agreed that we are going to form a common block and say that the presidential ticket should come to where? To a south.
To the south.
To the south, or south, then south to now zone to south.
The southeast.
Microzone to wherever the case may be.
Okay.
Now, the second one, it was based on that particular ground that they went to their convention and began activities that will enthrone, what they felt should be the right thing to be done. But somewhere, somehow, Atiku Abubakar, came in and said, PDP, there's no zoning. Before you knew, they said there was no longer.
No, but
you understand?
I'm sorry, sir.
It's all right.
Can you let us into what led Atiku to taking that decision?
That is what I'm telling you. It is an underground political intrigues that is happening now. I am telling you that is the reason why you see that the PDP has been dismantled right from that time, not today. Now, you know what happened? It was then that they later found out that there was insinuations and agreement that it was agreed that if, for instance, since you say there's no zoning, or PDP at that time, who is from the northern part of Nigeria called Iyocha Ayu, should do what now? Step aside and allow a southern chairman to take over that position. That was a gentleman agreement they said they had. These are the grievances of the Wike and other people that made them left. Seyi Makinde and most of those particular governors were all part of it.
We'll come to Seyi Makinde.
Yes, I'm coming. They were all part of this arrangement. So when Atiku now, by abracadabra, whatever the case may be, was now announced as the flag bearer because a Tambua had to throw in the towel and now gave his support to Atiku Abubakar against a Wike, because at that time Wike and Tambua were working hand in hand. And to rub salt upon injury at that particular convention, Iyocha Ayu, who people have been saying it has to step down, Atiku emerged. What happened? He now went and hugged a Tambua and I called Tambua as the hero of that convention. And that vexed a man like this, so we can say, it means that it was programmed, to negate what we understood before, to produce an Atiku Abubakar.
Okay.
That was how this particular field, in my own opinion, started.
Essentially, in your opinion, that was how Atiku became the problem.
He became it because so we came and said, okay, if this is what people want, there is no problem.
Okay.
At the end of the day, he now said, okay, maybe for what I've done, maybe I will go for the vice presidential ticket of PDP. Somewhere, somehow again, and Atiku Abubakar disappointed him.
He was edged out.
And he was edged out. And Okowana a man. Wike now said, he now vowed and said that because of that, he will never support Atiku Abubakar in that particular election. And he did so.
Okay. All right.
Now, coming back to this particular situation that we have today now, as it is, what we are prescoping today now, National Convention is taking place November, it is as case may be. Wike has said that he's a member of the Inec and he never got any invitation, he never got any notice of that particular November convention taking place on the 15th and 16th, of November in Ibadan, as the case may be. Mind you, Ibadan is in Oyo State, where Seyi Makinde is the governor, and Wike and Makinde recently are not in good terms. So we can see that an opportunity for a Seyi Makinde to do what now? Manipulate situations, open and close, as the case may be. Now, Wike is not saying that we have not reached any particular agreement that the convention is going to hold, because there are issues bordering on why there's these differences. You know that Wike said that a SAM, the National Secretary, he was accepted. It was by virtue of Wike that he became the accepted National Secretary of they settled that particular one. But the main grievance for Wike today is that the particular, a convention that was held in Calabar or something like that, that produced, Dan Obi, produced Dan Obi, should be detained. And that Dan Obi, who is a wicked, man Friday, as the case may be made the South-South, vice chairman of PDP. But the PDP hierarchy, those top guns are against, that man coming in. So these are the issues that borders on all these things. It's a very long one, very complicated.
You've done an expose of
what is going on there.
What you think.
What is my opinion? That's what I feel.
Opinion.
That's why I said this is the reason.
But a lot of people, because I'm a journalist too, and I followed what happened between in fact, I followed the PDP right from 1998 when it was formed as a journalist, as a reporter, as an editor. And what a lot of people understand or understood that happened, it was that PDP looked at their history. In 1999-98, Alex Ekwueme lost the ticket to Olusegun Obasanjo. In 2027, it went to the north. When it came back in 2011, Jonathan took it. Now, Nigeria is divided into two, north and south. And when the ticket came to the south, the Southwest took it first. Now, second time, the South took it in the person of Jonathan. So when it was supposed to come to the South again for PDP as a political party, Nyesom Wike said no. And we understood that Atiku Abubakar said, look, this ticket must go to the Southeast for justice. And if it doesn't go to the Southeast, like Wike said, make it open to the South. Atiku said, no, it has to go to the Southeast. And if it doesn't, I step in. Now, Wike thinking that with his deep pockets, that he was going to take the ticket from Atiku, said, no, it must be made open. That was how Atiku stepped into the fray. So, in that regard, you're a lawyer, you profess justice. Will it have been better or will it have been good for the PDP to take the ticket in 1999 to 2007 to Southwest, in 2011, 2015 to the South-South, and again in 2015, 2015 to the South-South again. So that was what vexed Atiku, and he said, I step in.
Well, these are vexed and skewed, prognosis of the PDP's problem. In my own opinion, I cannot verify, for instance, what you have said, if that is true. But for me, I know that I don't think Wike would have, had that philosophy of saying that, it's for the South, and not say the Southeast or the South should be denied. These are political hardballs that anybody can make at any point in time to gain political points or score points, political points. But what we are periscoping is the issue at hand right now.
Barrister, we are out of time. Now, what do you think will happen to PDP before 2027? Start from the December convention. What do you think will happen?
PDP is going to lose a lot of grounds. They have lost a lot of grounds. The Wike factor is heavier than the PDP, as the case may be. And the Wike factor is not something that is floating on the water. It's deep rooted. Could be wished away. Yeah, it's deep rooted. All this started from 2012. If you go to history, many people don't know how Wike was able to wrestle power from an Amechi in PDP as at that time. GURK was removed in place of Felix Oba took his place in Rivers State. That was where the gargantuan power of Wike began to grow. They were running to him. So it's difficult. Very difficult. It's difficult for them to now reach him up. So until and unless, in my own opinion, I believe politically speaking, because politics is about lobbying.
Yes.
Let them lobby Wike and see what can come out of it.
In all of this that you have said in the past 1 minute or so,
Yes.
do you not believe that Wike is the problem of the PDP?
It's not the problem. It's not the problem of
Atiku has left.
No, he has left, but his shadows are still, going around there.
Okay.
The IU issue has not been solved. Let me tell you,
all right,
but even Bode George made it clear that the IU syndrome has not been
out of time.
It has not been solved.
I mean, this story has been developing for over 3 years.
That's right.
I hope we can talk about it some other time.
The IU issue has to be resolved.
We are out of time.
Absolutely, yes.
All right, thank you very much. Now, this will be a good place to anchor this conversation. Many thanks to you, Barrister Adams. And we appreciate your presence. Constitutional lawyer, spokesperson Beatrice Itubo/P2B, campaign organization in the 2023 general elections. We appreciate your presence in Political Lines. Now, on behalf of the backroom staff, technical director Victor Igris, bus manager engineer Hassan, sound engineer Jerry, and ingest manager Alex Scott, I am Chukuma Okoro. Up next is Issues with Jerry Apollo High. Stay with us and don't go away, and enjoy the rest of your evening.